In 2012, I made one of the best decisions of my life, I would say. I decided on my 50th birthday that I would post something that I was grateful for 365 days. So I want to share that journey with you that got me started on. And it was during those 365 days that I came up with the concept of the Gratitude Network. But I want to talk about this Gratitude 365 experience. Was very interesting. The first 125 days, I thought of all the usual suspects. What are the things I could be grateful for? Even some things that maybe I was overlooking that I should be grateful for. Friends, family, a wonderful home, career. Somewhere around day 120, 125, you have to get very creative. And you find yourself actually looking everywhere, looking around, making little notes. Oh, I'm grateful for that. And so it created a mindset for me of actually, throughout the year, thinking about what I was truly grateful for and noticing things, being in the present moment. And that's really what gratitude can do for you. Now, gratitude, by definition, would be the state of being thankful for something that you've observed or perhaps something that's been given to you. But I think gratitude can be so much more than that. Gratitude, of course, can be a value. We just talked about values in our last session. Gratitude can be an attitude. We've all heard attitude of gratitude. Gratitude can be a spiritual venture for some people. And gratitude, of course, a virtue, a human virtue. Cicero, the great Roman orator, was known to have said that gratitude is the most important virtue and really the mother of all virtues. I don't know if it's the mother or the father, but I do know this. Gratitude, if you think about putting gratitude into practice, gratitude can lead to love. It can lead to you being more empathetic toward other people, a whole variety of things. So in some sense, gratitude is one of those values that we want to think about, whether we make it a part of our culture and our business, or it's just a personal practice. One of the things I love to think about when it comes to gratitude, and I've learned in the 13 years since the Gratitude 365 experiment, is the idea that if you can really zero in on the gift that is causing you to feel grateful, you learn a lot about yourself. So you learn really what's truly valuable to you, what is really at the core of your being. So I'd like to just take a moment here to ask you, as you sit here, just to think about what are some of the gifts, and gifts are all around us. They're everywhere, you can notice them everywhere, but what are some of the gifts, 2 or 3 gifts, that you have been given in life, or you have in your business? And what is the value of those gifts to you? What do they mean to you? In 13 years that I've been thinking about gratitude and living it every day, because when you name your company Gratitude Network, you basically have plastered it to your forehead, right? And so I've studied, what is the science behind gratitude? And the science breaks down, into mind, body, and soul. So I want to talk briefly about each one of those. First of all, there are numerous studies, numerous NIH studies actually, that talk about gratitude and how it can improve physical health. Gratitude can affect your well-being in general, and it can reduce stress, it can reduce anxiety, and there are studies that have been shown that gratitude can enhance your sleep and allow you to sleep better. On the mind side, self-esteem typically is associated with gratitude, and I think that's a pretty common theme that I've seen in some of the research out there. My favorite researcher is a fellow named Robert Emmons, and Robert is a professor at UC Davis and the author of Thanks, which is a great book to pick up if you're interested in this topic. And Robert pointed out that gratitude not only can reduce depression, but gratitude also increases happiness and joy. We've talked about mind and body. What about soul? So in the great religions, most of the great religions incorporate gratitude into their practice and into the readings. For example, in the Baha'i faith, giving blessings for living a life of unity, love, and peace. Here's something from the Star of the West. Blessed is he who is charitable, for he shall inherit eternal life. Now, blessing, in the religious sense, if you think of it as a gratitude, is really a blessing that relates also to a higher source. In the Jewish faith, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam is how many prayers and many religious services start, which is, blessed are you, Lord, eternal God. And then in the Christian faith, Matthew 5 is a great example called the Beatitudes, where they list 8 gratitudes or 8 blessings that are essential for Christian life. And a good example of that is, blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Gratitude Network basically works with social entrepreneurs around the world who we have chosen, who are already making an impact specifically on children, and specifically underserved children. And so over the last 8 years, we've had about 200 organizations, 200 leaders come through the program. And the program is aimed at improving the quality of leadership of those organizations and giving them all the tools for scaling up. And to date, Gratitude Network has impacted nearly 50 million children who are the outreach of those 200 social entrepreneurs that have come through the program. So in the course of running Gratitude, I have had a chance to observe hundreds of social entrepreneurs and their attitude toward gratitude, as well as my own team. And so just a couple of things on gratitude and conscious leadership. And when I say conscious, I'm thinking beyond profit. So anything related to people, planet, purpose. Gratitude and leadership, not only do we see some of the mind and body components that I mentioned earlier, but in the business context, if you think about it, if you're able to tie gratitude in, you're more likely to find your purpose in your business, in what you're doing day to day. And that purpose, generally, there have been studies that show that a grateful type of culture actually reduces turnover, as an example. I think the biggest improvement that gratitude makes is probably in the quality of the relationships that you see in an organization when gratitude becomes a value or is important to the organization. And if you think about it, if you're purpose-driven, then your ability to be grateful for the small things that happen at work and articulate that to others is going to make for a better relationship with that person, that partner, whoever you're doing business with. This came out loud and clear within the Gratitude Network and all the activities and events that we've had over the years. So I want to leave you with 5 ideas of ways that you can apply gratitude if you're interested into your leadership. The first is I mentioned that book by Robert Emmons. That is a great conversation starter. The video of this talk could be a great conversation starter, so you can chat with people about why gratitude is important, get them talking. Number 2 idea is we call this at the Gratitude Network a gratitudinal moment. And so every event that we have, whether it's just a team meeting or a 500-person event, we start off either with the leader expressing a gratitude to the audience or people on the team, or we ask for gratitudes around the table. So taking 3 examples of what are you grateful for, and people will just shout that out. It's a wonderful icebreaker and a great way to get things going. An example of a gratitudinal moment would be number 3 here. I call it future forward. So you have your team think about a goal that they're working on, something they're really excited to achieve in the future. And then have them picture themselves at the moment that they achieve that goal and think about what are they grateful for in that moment. And it's interesting that it works a little bit backwards, because if you're thinking about what you're grateful for in the future, you were thinking about all the steps that will lead to your success and what you're grateful for or who you're grateful for at each one of those steps. A fourth idea would be coming back to the concept of blessings. So I find with a small group, when I can just to myself think about what a blessing each person in that group has brought to the group, just something I do silently, and that often then comes out in your character. Because if you're thinking positive thoughts and you're thinking blessings toward people, it shows. I have a friend who I've known for 35 years, and he ends every one of our conversations, our Zoom calls, or in-person meetings with a blessing. And what's amazing about this is his blessing includes everything we talked about. In other words, he was fully present in the conversation, looking for what he was going to bless. And then it sends us off in such a nice, positive way. And what he's doing is he's blessing the things that I'm working on, he's blessing things that he's working on, and who we are together as a team. Such a beautiful idea. The fifth idea, I'd like you to all test out for me. So I want everyone to take their phone out, if you have a phone with you, and I'd like you to open your calendar up, and I'd like you to go to tomorrow morning, around the time that you wake up, and I'd like you to write down a calendar entry, a small half hour or 1 hour from now. You can make it smaller later. But write down, choose one person to share my gratitude with, and why. Choose one person to share my gratitude with today, and why. Save that, if you're daring, save that as a repeating calendar entry. This is what I did quite some time ago. And so when you get up the next morning, you should see that reminder. Pick someone maybe that you haven't thought about giving thanks to for some time. In the immortal words of Piglet, you're never too small, and the opportunity is never too small for you to show a little gratitude. Thanks.
Think of sharing what you know.